Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our study in Proverbs, the sayings, as we look at different subjects. Last time around, we looked at the heart, and for the two videos at least. Well, I still want to look at another body part, if you will, the mouth, which includes the lips and the tongue. In other words, words. But that branches out into different subsubjects sometimes, so we'll stay focused on the body parts, the mouth, lips, and tongue. And here again, there's still a lot to be said, so there'll be a few videos just on that. For now, we just want to dip our toes. We want to look at what are these words and how dangerous they are. So we actually start with a basic contrast that says, the tongue of the wise commends knowledge, but the mouth of fools pour out folly. Like I said, basic contrast between the wise and the fool, and the folly comes out compared to the knowledge. But there's one major one that really helps us to make sense of things. The wise will command, or more precisely, will express rightly or do it rightly. It's all this notion of being able to explain this knowledge, this truth, this information in such a way that people get it. A lot of people have great information, but they just throw it out there in such a way you can't get it. But the wise, they know how to do it right. And that compared to, of course, to the fool that just pours it out. Just comes all out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It makes you think of vomit, honestly. Vomit in the sense that it comes out, it's mixed together with other things, and it's very disgusting. And I say that because of the folly part. Now, where does this come from though? Well, here's where we kind of bounce back to the heart for a minute as we read in same chapter 15, this in verse 28. The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things. Don't ever forget, the wise and the righteous are interchangeable. They're the right kind of people. Compared to the fools who are wicked, because fools do not believe God exists and they live according to that. So it's the same thing. And their hearts, if they're righteous, they will ponder. Goes well with the idea of being able to express rightly the truth, because he thought it through how to say it rightly. Where again, the wicked, foolish heart just throws it out there and ends up being nothing more than evil, foolishness, or vomit, like I said. So we're starting to really see this contrast between the righteous, wise heart that thinks before he speaks, and of course the wicked, foolish heart that just throws it out there no matter how much garbage comes out at the same time. Well, still kind of focus on the wicked in his mouth. We can read this. A worthless man plots evil, and his speech is like a scorching fire. Just in case you're saying, well, it's not really their fault, that they just didn't think properly. No, that these worthless people, foolish, wicked hearts, they plot evil. They want to say things that will be hurtful, like a scorching fire, like evil things, like folly. Yeah, they're spewing it out without thinking, but there's another sense where they are thinking. They want to hurt. They want to be disgusting. They want to be destructive. Where the wise, righteous person is one who thinks it through and wants the right thing to come out. We keep those differences in our heads as we now start looking at the repercussions. A lot of those in Proverbs, right? Repercussions. What will happen? Focusing, again, in the contrast of the wise and the fool, we read this. By the mouth of a fool comes a rod for his back, but the lips of the wise will preserve them. See, this is what the fool, with his foolish words, his evil words, his scorching fire, he invites the rod, punishment from on high or from others. He's almost provoking people to beat him. While the wise, because he thinks things through, he's really considering the best way to answer. even before an enemy, and we'll see that pretty quickly, he will preserve himself from these hits. But like I just said, there's a sense of sometimes it's even before those who want to harm you. The fool will really bring harm to himself, while the wise will preserve himself. Now I'll say this because when we jump to chapter 15, I meant chapter 16, my mistake. But you read, a fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. Don't miss the verbs. First, his lips, his mouth are walking into, are inviting. They're calling for actions against him, like beating. But then they even become, right, are his very ruin and destruction. Because again, this foolish, wicked person who doesn't think before he speaks and who's plotting to say wicked things is just aching for a fight, a beating, or just to ruin himself. That's the foolish heart seen in his words. That's why Jesus can say, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So this is where the wise person will think things through, even with an enemy who wants to hurt him, and be able, through words, to calm the situation down. But the fool will just make it worse and start a fight. Now let's not be too quick to say, oh yeah, fools them. We have still foolish hearts. We still have a sin-filled or sin-infected heart. We can still be foolish sometimes and invite the beatings and walk into the fight and make things worse for ourselves when we listen to the flesh. So let's not be too quick to disown ourselves from this reality. So what can we do to deal with this? Glad you asked. When words are many, transgressions is not lacking. But whoever restrains his lips is prudent. We get the first part, right? Many words, many sins. Because again, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. More we're quick to express ourselves in our carnality, and more we'll ruin our lives. We'll cause problems for ourselves because we didn't think first. Is this from the flesh? Maybe I shouldn't say it. So that's why there's a contrast of but, this restraining reality, this self-control. And don't miss, his lips will show that he is prudent. Not just he seems like it, because he's not expressing it like a little hypocrisy. No, he is, because he is restraining himself, keeping himself from speaking. You keep that in mind. Because we're too quick to say you could look wise by not speaking. But that's not the idea. We see it again when we jump to the next one. Whoever restrains his words has knowledge. And he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. We understand that the restraining reality and the cool spirit, same thing, self-control. This person who thinks things through before they speak, don't miss, he has it. Doesn't just look like he has it, he has it. He is a man of understanding because he knows that the heart is wicked and he shouldn't be too quick to just spew out what's in here. How I feel, how I reacted. Don't be too quick to say it. Keep that in mind as we jump to the next chapter 17 verse and says, even a fool who keeps silence is considered wise when he closes his lips. He is deemed intelligent. See, this is what we think it looks like. Actually, no. The word considered really talks about intermeshing something and completing it. It talks about a conclusion. The conclusion we'll have is that this person, once again, has wisdom, is prudent, is a man of understanding. He's showing it by self-control. Same thing with this idea of deemed. Not just he seems like it, we'll be able to really recognize him as having it. So yeah, holding back isn't just about hiding something. It's about the fact that you're dealing with your own evil heart and wicked thoughts, and you're learning to say, wait, no, that's not right, that's not true, I don't need to say it. That's wisdom and prudence, and God approved. So we're getting some good instruction in how to deal with these situations, which is why we should take to heart what the Proverbs says next. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. How many times are we so quick to speak before we think when it comes to situations all around us, right? Somebody's sharing something, and let me interrupt you and tell you some good information. Let me cut you off and give you some wise counsel before hearing you fully through. Or you enter a conversation, you hear them speaking on a subject, and you're like, oh, I know they're wrong. Let me go interrupt. Let them finish. Hear it out. Because again, the wise person will ponder and also share wisdom through that. Listen. Because if not, you're just expressing your folly, and worse than that, it'll be very shameful for you. Yeah, we knew that. Yeah, I knew that already. I just want to share how you feel, man. So, yeah, listen, ponder. Don't be too quick. Don't be too quick in any matter, actually. As it says here, it is a snare to say rashly, it is holy, and to reflect only after making vows. This makes me think of what we can see in Ecclesiastes, a study we're actually going on in this very YouTube channel. I invite you to go check it out on Sundays. But in it, Kohelet, the writer, in chapter 5, talks about all these good spiritual things, like making vows and offering sacrifices at the temple, but says don't be too quick to do it. Ponder the fact that He is God and you are not. Think before you do, even though there are good spiritual religious things. We can be really rash to give some holy information, right? Some good spiritual, here's a bunch of verses, here's a good Christian counsel, and we can be rash to do that. Don't be. The same way he talks about being too quick to make these vows. James tells us about that, right? That we shouldn't be too quick to say yes or no and make all these promises. Just let yes be yes and you know be no. Don't make too many promises. Don't be too quick on that. Don't be too quick to speak even in a spiritual setting, because again, the wise man will stop, ponder, control himself, unrestrained before he speaks. So ultimately, here is the best way to kind of wrap it all up with a very simple piece of advice. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Like we've been seeing over and over again. Because the foolish person, and again, we have foolishness still in us, is the one that needs to speak out. Just blunders it all out, not realizing how it comes from an evil heart. We just need to talk. We need to be heard. We interrupt people. And even we share good, holy things, but it ends up for our shame, actually, showing us how foolish we are, even as believers. No, because a true wise person will ponder. He will listen. He'll consider. And he'll share the information in just a way that will be a blessing to all. There's a lot of restraint and self-control, and that's wisdom. So may these truths really help us consider how to use our tongue, our mouth, our words to brothers and sisters. On that note, be blessed.